we're going to take a look at Japanese pointing words. Japanese pointing words are words that function like this and that and so on. Of course, we have those in English, but there are some additional parameters, some additional things we need to take care of when we use these in Japanese. Now, they're called ko, so, a, do words in Japanese, and that's because the word for this, that, or the other always begin with those syllables.
Ko, so, a, and do. Ko, so, a, do.
Now, best way to see how these work is to actually use them or see them in action. So let's start by giving you an example. So let's say I've never seen one of these little yellow squirmy creatures before, and I want to ask you in Japanese, what is this? I don't know what this is. I would say to you in Japanese, これは何ですか? これは何ですか? Of course, you'll respond to my question by saying,
それはピカチュウです。
Right. You have to use それ because Pikachu is not in your possession. He's not near you. He's in my hands, and I'm the listener when you're speaking. So, それ is what you need to use to refer to something that is near someone else. In this case, the listener. Now let's say I notice one of these little yellow things off in the distance there, and I'm not sure what it is. You're the Pokemon master, so I ask you, あれは何ですか? あれは何ですか? Of course, you look over there and you see the little yellow guy, and being the Pokemon master that you are, you say to me,
あれはピカチュウです。
あれはピカチュウですか? あれはピカチュウですか? なるほど。なるほど。To recap then, これ、それ, and あれ are used when we don't know the name of the object that we're referring to. We can use これ, それ, and あれ, our pointing words, to give the listener an idea as to the proximity, the nearness of the object we're referring to. これ, something in possession of or near the speaker. それ, something in possession of or near the listener. Or あれ, something that is distant from both the speaker and the listener. Let's say, for example, you and I are out taking a stroll one day, and we happen to be walking through some tall grass. Surprisingly, a wild Bulbasaur appears. This, of course, is a cause for excitement, concern. We need to catch this thing, so in order to do so, we need another Pokemon to capture it, right? So I start looking around. I'm thinking, I've got a Pikachu. I can do this, right? And so I start looking. Wait, what did I do with my Pikachu? Where's my Pikachu? So I could look to you. I'm looking at you right now, and I could ask you, 私のピカチュウはどこですか? 私のピカチュウはどこですか? どこですか? I can't find my Pikachu. This is a problem. And there's a Bulbasaur over there we need to catch. What are we going to do? Well, I'm not keen to this, but let's say you are standing and facing me, as you are now, and you notice there's a Pikachu behind me, over there. All right, so you would say to me,
あそこです。
Oh, and I would say to you, どこですか? 私のピカチュウはどこですか?
あそこです。
私のピカチュウはあそこです。私のピカチュウはあそこです。Now, what would happen if, for example, Pikachu weren't behind me a distance away, but if he was on my shoulder instead, and I simply hadn't noticed that he was there? I could ask you the same question. 私のピカチュウはどこですか? Seeing him on my shoulder, you would respond,
そこです。
So we'll use そこ, the pointing word そこ, to indicate when the person or object being referenced is near the listener. In this exchange, when I ask you, where is my Pikachu, I'm speaking, but as soon as you answer the question, you become the speaker. And so to refer to the Pikachu on my shoulder, you would have to use そこ. So let's say, for example, I'm looking for my Pikachu, and it's not on my shoulder this time. it's not off in the distance, but you have my Pikachu. So I ask you, 私のピカチュウはどこですか? You say,
ここです。
and I take my Pikachu. ありがとう. For our next group of pointing words, we have kono, sono, and ano. Let's take a look at how those work. So never having seen Pokémon Pikachu before, we run up and take a look. And here's what we find. So, there's two Pikachus over there, and I'm going to run over there and grab one, and you're going to run over and grab one, and then we're going to compare. So look what I found. I got this big Pikachu. Now, we're going to compare our Pikachus, the one you just picked up and the one I just picked up. So I could say to you, このピカチュウは大きいですね。このピカチュウは大きいですね。Let's see the one you picked up there. そのピカチュウは小さいですね。そのピカチュウは小さいですね。So, you've had a look at this Pikachu. このピカチュウ. I've had a look at the Pikachu you just picked up. そのピカチュウ. And then we notice one off in the distance. あのピカチュウ. あのピカチュウは小さいです。あのピカチュウは小さいです。So to recap, you use kono, sono, and ano when it comes immediately before a noun and the name of the object is known. Therefore, I can say, このピカチュウ, or if I'm referring to the Pikachu that you have, そのピカチュウ, or if we're talking about the Pikachu way over there, we would say,
あのピカチュウ. Now, in each of our previous examples, we used ko, so, and do to point to objects near the speaker, near the listener, and distant from both. The words that begin with do are the question words. The word dore can be used to ask which one when you have two items. The word doko, as we saw in the previous example, can be used to ask where an object is. And the word dono can be used similar to the other words in its group, kono, sono, and ano, immediately preceding a noun, to ask which named item one is referring to. In summary, then, the words kore, sore, are, and dore can be used for unnamed or unknown objects. The words koko, soko, asoko, and doko can be used to refer to places. And finally, kono, sono, ano, and dono can be used immediately before a noun or some other named object. We should note here that anytime you're speaking with a Japanese speaker, the pointing words that start with ko always refer to something that's either in the possession of or in the immediate vicinity of the speaker. Those pointing words that begin with so always point to something either in possession of or in the immediate vicinity of the listener. And those pointing words that start with a always refer to something that is distant from both speaker and listener. Thanks for watching, and ganbatte!